Okay, so we're gonna try this again. I tried just a couple of minutes ago to set up everything, and it didn't work out. Throughout the whole time I've been offering my lives to you all, it's just been an interesting technological journey that I've been on. For those of you who know that the retrogrades are done, that's where we are today. So we're just vibing to some Robert Glasper as I bring you all in, gather around. I'm so happy to be here one more day, one more again, one more time. My name is Odessa. I am a womb wellness mentor. I help women who experience fibroids, endometriosis, miscarriages, PCOS to reduce the amount of discomfort they feel during their cycle, increase their vitality and energy by helping them to integrate natural and holistic therapies that will allow them to reduce the medication, lose weight, expand their mindset and live a better quality life, and also get the success that they want, right? So the pregnancies, the shorter stable periods and all of that. So I wanted to come on today to talk with you about the idea of doing nothing is a choice. We all have a choice. We all make choices, and doing nothing is a choice. And it just so happens that at the same time we have the elections in the US that are happening. And so you can kind of see, like the talk that people give you when they're starting, to give impression that they're on your side, and then they make the decision, because everybody has a choice, to not do what they said they're going to do, or just do nothing at all, period. So oftentimes we as individuals, we make excuses about what we can't do because it's not that important to us. We don't recognize the importance of whatever it is that we want to change. We don't recognize the detriment of the circumstances that we're in, just how much discomfort it's putting us in, just how much we've had to adjust ourselves, adjust our lives to fit the circumstances that we're living through, the chronic conditions that we're living through. Oftentimes, another reason why we don't think that we can take action is because of the price point of things. We are used to nickel and diming it for us, whereas I know many mothers, I'm a mother, I'm a parent, I know many parents that will, put the utmost, importance and focus on things for their children, purchasing the best for them, making sure they have the best schools, making sure that, everything that they need is provided for, but then they will not take care of themselves. They will purchase, Walmart clothes. There's nothing wrong with Walmart clothes, but you won't spend the money to go into the stores that you choose to go into. You know what I mean? You won't buy the foods or go to the places. You won't get the massages that you want, right? You won't see the kinds of therapists, counselors, or practitioners that you want because you don't feel as though you are worth the financial investment, right? This is a huge thing. I remember when I even started my journey, I was like, what do you mean? Like, why would I, give more than that when I can get a little bit over here? But there's something about it, you know what I mean? And it's also to recognize that, we all have debt issues. We all have issues of debt. If it isn't something for the family, it's something for a friend. If it isn't a house, it's a car that's broken down. And if it isn't health, it's your, you know what I mean? Like it's just one thing or another. And so, this is another reason why we don't take action on things. Another reason why we don't take action on things is because we don't trust ourselves to complete the fulfillment to the end, to the fulfilled promise to the end. This is a huge piece to a lot of the puzzle. I see some squirrels out my window here. This is a big piece. A lot of people don't start things because they don't think that they can finish it. Like example, you purchase, you download some freebies, right? You've gone through, the gamut of therapists, of coaching programs, of, clinics, of, doctor's offices, and you've downloaded the freebies and you've applied or you've read the information, but you don't apply the work, right? Or you started and you don't see any changes, right? Or oftentimes maybe you'll get into it, you'll get all gung-ho about it, and, you lose momentum because, something is required of you that you weren't prepared to invest. You didn't want to go down this route to get these kinds of results, right? So you don't trust yourself to finish it because you're not sure what could happen, or you don't have that kind of security. Um, Oftentimes, sometimes we don't want to be cured. And this is a really fine line to walk, because we get comfortable, right? That's the habit of human nature. We get comfortable with the pain, we get comfortable with, however we have had to set our life up. We're creatures of habit, right? And so you're looking for a way to maintain a level of stability and surety and security, so the idea of changing what you're doing means that your comfort is no longer going to be there. Like, think of when you're in your bed and you're warm, and you lift up the covers and you get that whiff of cold. I know for me, like, it makes me want to go deeper down into the covers, like I really, really, really don't like that feeling. So this is something that can come up, you know what I mean? Whereas you want to, see a change and a difference, you want to move the needle, but you don't want to come out of your level of comfort. You don't want to come out of your comfort zone, you know what I mean? Which kind of translate to not really wanting to, have the changes done, because it requires something different, something more of you. Oftentimes, once you've taken that decision to go forward, you recognize what the problem is, you're moving forward. When you really know what the problem is, you can't go back, right? Like, you can pretend, but you can't go back. And so that's a level of commitment, a commitment to yourself, a commitment to the change, a commitment to the process. And so these are, I find, some of the reasons why we are afraid to take action. These are some of the reasons why I see that, there's always like that a little bit of resistance, or oftentimes a lot of resistance. Being afraid of change. What's normal for you doesn't become, the mainstream in the new phase. You know what I mean? Whatever brought you to that point is not what's going to bring you to the next level. You know what I mean? And so, like, especially when it comes to, and like, I keep on thinking that I'm saying this in this series, but I don't think I've said it enough. And there are many times that, I watch practitioners talk about the kind of changes that they can make, but you can do this and still maintain your bad habits. And this doesn't work. It doesn't work, And so oftentimes that's what people are afraid of. If I start these new habits, I have to change all of my habits. Now, the thing with that is, you can engage in building new patterns and habits, right? And you can play the fence. You can ride the line between making the change and going back to what you're doing, and give your body, right, and give your mind and being the semblance of having, like, moved the needle, having, made a difference. But the issue with that is that it confuses your system. If you're in the process of cleaning out your system and eating better and doing better and living better, taking the herbs, doing all the things, and then you turn around at the same time and say, okay, well, they said it's okay if I still maintain this, because the promise is to make the change and still maintain the habit. You're confusing yourselves. And oftentimes what happens is there can be like other layers of illness that come up to the surface, or other symptoms that come up, or more prolonged, the issue can be prolonged beyond the time frame that it could take to cure it, because you're confusing the system. Like, you take 3 steps forward, but then you go back to doing this, and so you fall behind again. Good morning, great day, Natasha, thank you for joining. So this is something that's really important, when we talk about what people are afraid of when it comes to delving into the newness of new habits and new patterns, you know what I mean? And why we choose to do nothing as a choice, right? Because you're presented with the options. And, the options mean that it's sometimes the red pill or the blue pill. Give thanks for that love. And so, they're also afraid of finding out their own shortcomings, right? Complacency and the choices that brought you there. This is the other issue. Like when you are doing the healing work, and especially when you're using the natural forms of healing, because we're moving matter, we're changing your molecular quality, which affects how you think, how you feel, how you act. And it means, give thanks for that love, it means that you come up face to face with the things that you have done to bring yourself here. So we know that with illness, there's that quality of genetics, right? That's involved. Your family may have had, down the line or immediately. We know that there's, sometimes you're born into an environment that can create stress. So you become a product of that. But we also know that we make conscious decisions every day, right? The theme of this is doing nothing is a choice. And so if you have been living a life of decisions that keep you stuck in a mental paradigm, right? And being stuck in a mental paradigm means that you're only seeing from this perspective, and it means that these particular habits, frequencies, tapes, these patterns, everything is repeating itself. And so it's affecting your illness in a particular way. Right? It's showing up in your physical body in a particular way. It's showing up in the actions that you make and the responses that you give people, situations, circumstances, right? That's what's happening. And when you make that move to say, okay, I'm changing my habits, I'm changing my livity, I'm changing my lifestyle, because I want more for me, you come up against your shortcomings. You come up against the complacency. You come up against what brought you to this point, the actions. And if you are not prepared to be fully responsible, not just partially, because we live in a very partial world. If you're not prepared to be fully responsible for all of here now, for your karma, right? Because you've created it without realizing it. We're always creating good and bad karma. Whatever karma means to you, it's the consequence of your actions based on the experience that you're having, on the interpretation of the experience that you're having, right? And so if you are not prepared to, be honest with yourself, with the things that you've been doing, the people that you've been frequenting, the partners that you've had, the foods that you're eating, if you're not ready, to work through this, right, then you cannot get beyond a certain point in your healing work. That's just how it goes. It doesn't mean you won't get results. It does not mean you won't get results, but it means you can only grow up to a certain point, right? Like you have to graduate, and that part requires, something more of you that you may not be willing to take on. Okay, so being successful, thank you for that love. So being successful is also another reason why we may choose to not make that choice, right? How many people are even aware that they're afraid of their own success? How many people are afraid of their own success? I remember working with some clients, and at one time, like a whole bunch, they were just losing weight, just dropping pounds. And one woman, she told me she went into the shopping center to buy some clothes, and she came out quickly. She was like, oh my God, the clothes were too big for me. I lost weight. And she just kind of left the store. I'm like, why didn't you continue? Why didn't you celebrate this, And it was interesting because it was as though, this pattern just kind of, like jumped in and kind of took over. And so she wasn't able to celebrate this, this milestone that she's passed, and sometimes, based off of what we've been told, my son found the heart button. Well, thank you for that love. Sometimes, based off of how we allow the experiences to settle in our mind, how we crystallize those thoughts, we will receive the information of us not being able to be successful that other people have planted inside of us, right? And you will believe that, you know what I mean? And so the idea of you being successful, sometimes, like, okay, if we sit down and we look at what can happen for you in the next 90 days, and we'll talk about the tangibles, but you can't even see it for yourself. You know what I mean? So like, what does that look? I can't see myself. You were speaking healing gems this morning. Give thanks, give thanks. You know what I mean? And this is what happens oftentimes. You know, it's like you're trying to build the bridge to go from point A to point Z, right? But along the way, you can see yourself getting to G, and you're getting excited about it. And by the time you get to M, you start to wobble, but you can't see past Q. You know what I mean? And so you as you start to approach the net, you just can't keep on going, and you may stop. You may completely stop and put it down because you just don't know what's going to happen between here and there. And so that fear of the unknown is what's stopping you. So you choose not to do anything. Right? You're not the only person. You are not the only person who does that, who has done that, and who will do that. But you have the ability to decide how the next moves are going to look, right? There's always a fork in the road. There's always a junction. There's always a choice. There's always a decision to be made, right? So, like, what do you have to lose? You know, what do you have to lose? You know, when you're investing in yourself, exactly the way I feel now. Yes, right? When you're investing in yourself, you know, if you're not able to see incremental changes, we know that this doesn't encourage the work, right? You have to know that you're putting the work in, and you have to know that these small pieces will come. You have to know that you're committed to that one step, wait, you know, like the seasons don't change from the 21st to the 23rd. Doesn't happen. You know, we're moving from summertime to fall into wintertime, right? Like you have to go back and forth between. So what will not taking action cost you, right? What will not taking action cost you? You don't know what your capacity is. So remember I spoke about living in that mental paradigm, you know, then you've created an environment that feels safe based off of what you have access to and what you know how to do, your own skill set, right? Now, if you choose to not do something today, okay, the best example, right? For those of you, trust the process. Exactly. For those of you who have natural hair, the process of transitioning from permed hair to natural hair, or from short hair to long hair, right? We all know what that has been like. And how many of us have said, okay, I'm not ready to start my hair yet because of this process it's going to take, right? Not knowing what the difference is going to be like, not knowing if you can make it through the funky phases, not knowing how you're going to maintain face in the process of change and transformation, right? Sometimes you just can't see that difference, right? You're like, right? You know what I mean? But it's once you start to see those small pieces, and you're like, okay, all right, there's some, you know, I see the little 1 inch, 2 inch growth, right? You know, going through the eye of the needle, right? Knowing that this is what's going to bring you to the other side. It's going to bring you, I'm getting all this love because it's true, right? Going through that initial eye of the needle is what will get you there, because you're missing out on so much. You know, you're looking at your friend like, I could have started that 3-6 months ago, right? I could have had that length. You know what I mean? I could have, you know, started this diet. Oh my goodness, you look so good. Your skin is glowing. I was thinking of juicing and I just fell off. You know, I didn't continue it. You know, like you need to know that you're going to get those results, and you have to be able to step out on faith. You have to be able to step out on faith and into the unknown, right? And know that you will get the results that you're looking for, but you have to, you know, sacrifice your mental paradigm, your emotional comfort, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is that you do as a creature of habit, you know? Like if you're not prepared, if your decision is to not make that choice, then you sacrifice your peace of mind, right? Because all of these things are available. It's available to all of us, right? Like having that, what I like to call that feminine freedom, that ability to flourish, to feel as though you're flourishing during your menstrual cycle, okay? This is like an oxymoron. Give me some hearts if that sounds like an oxymoron. Feeling as though you're flourishing during your menstrual cycle, it isn't something that's normal. It isn't something that we consider to be regular. You know what I mean? Like, we get, most women, I know for me, majority of my conscious life, when my cycle was coming around, there was apprehension. Oh my gosh, I don't want to feel like this. Now when it comes, I'm just so excited, you know? And so if you have been dealing with chronic issues, if you have been suffering with repeat miscarriages, with fibroids, with endometriosis, PCOS, you have the ability, you have some opportunities, right, to experience regular sleep, to experience peaceful cycles, to experience, no PMS during your cycle, to experience, stabilized mood swings. You have the right to experience, less stress, to experience better communication, because you're not feeling anxious or overwhelmed because of the changes that are going through your body. And then let's not even talk about COVID. Do you know how many women who talk to me and they're like, I don't know what has been happening this year, but my cycle it stopped, it started, it's all over the place. Maybe I'm premenopausal. I don't know everyone is all over the place. Energetically speaking, this is not the time to sacrifice your well-being for logical, repetitive, habits and things that you do. This is the time, exactly, acceptance. This is the time, you know what I mean, to really lean back. As women, this is the time to lean back and accept. Acceptance is actually, Natasha, that's so interesting. That's one of the pieces within the energetic model of the womb and of the heart together, tolerance and acceptance. So that's really interesting, for us as women kind of coming into that, because I guarantee you, when you do that, when we start to do that, when we give ourselves that permission, you know what I mean? Like, we're not waiting on someone to give us permission to go and do all the things that we need to do. We start to create the universe, God, the energy, whatever you want, the divine being, the guides, everybody begins to conspire. And so if your goal is to have, you know what I mean, more time to be able to rest and relax before, jumping, because that's the gift. The gift of relaxing is having the energy to attack. So those of you who don't like to rest, we got to start changing your thinking. Right? You want to create more space for you to feel as though you can thrive. You have to create it. You have to create it. And so by making the choice to not do anything, by making the choice to not go through the discomfort, you're robbing yourself. You're robbing yourself of that opportunity. Natasha says, it is a big piece of my healing therapy work as well. As we know, mental health and physical health is interconnected. Exactly. And then when you throw in the knowledge of women and our cycles, you know what I mean? And just giving everyone in general, but giving yourself that pause to rest and regroup. You know what I mean? It isn't just about sleeping at night, which is important, but it's about really okay, how in my life do I create these pockets of moments? You know what I mean? And if I'm choosing not to do that, because it's so different to me, I can't see it, then you're giving yourself, you're putting yourself in more detriment, and you don't even know it. Right? So you lose the ability to cultivate lifelong self-care. You lose the ability to experience a level of security and freedom that's available to you because you have committed to this level of wellness for yourself, right? You lose the ability to shore up those boundaries. You know what I mean? You don't feel as though you have to overgive. You know what I mean? You're not a martyr, you know what I mean, for your cause, for your people, for your family, for your community, I don't know, this work is just, I'm looking at my notes and it's when a person makes that decision to give back to themselves first, you fill back into your own cup. You know what I mean? And specifically when it comes to women, I've talked about the mind state. I've talked about, how we view ourselves, you know what I mean? it's like, even when it comes to birth, like I remember having a dream of a woman giving birth, and like she came home from the hospital with her baby and she went on the treadmill. Okay. Like this is not healthy. It's not normal. You know what I mean? Like settling for, this model of care that we have, you know, you deserve more, and you have access to more. You know what I mean? It's wanting to do that and giving yourself permission to change your mental paradigm, so looking at that gap and where you are and where you want to be, and really like understanding, asking yourself, what do I really need? First of all, do I really want to get to this point here? And then what do I need, to get there? And do I have the resources? And if I don't have the resources, what do I need to get the resources? Like anything can happen for you. Anything can happen for you, right? If that's what you need and if that's what you want, you just got to align into it, and lean into it. Thank you so much for the love, so that was really what it was. That was my call today. That was my live today. I wanted to come through and share this with you. At any point of your experience, we have a choice. The Heartway says the funny and challenging part is when the giving back to myself is actually walking me through all my mental and obsolete mental patterns. Exactly, right? Like I was saying earlier on, like when you start to do the work, when you actually do the work, you begin to face yourself, right? And this is scary to people, and it actually stops them from moving forward. It's a choice, it's a choice to keep on going forward. And so I just want to encourage you all. I want to encourage you all, like do the work, apply the work, like give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance to try. You know what I mean? Give yourself a chance to do the unthinkable, to step into the unknown, like take a chance on you, put it all out there, I just want to let you all know before I go that doors are open. Give thanks for that love. Doors are open for my program, Womb Wisdom for Hormonal Health. This is a program to help women walk through 3 phases of assessing and understanding where they are multidimensionally, optimizing their environment with inner and outer cleansing using herbs, energy work, crystals, all the things. That's what I do. And the third part is integrating the work through weekly calls, one-to-one sessions, helping you to understand what yoni steaming is, how to integrate it, how to understand what to do each week of your cycle, what to do when you're facing these different issues, how to process incomplete relationships, how to connect the astral, emotional, mental, and physical, and create those programs, those routines, and those rituals that will help you to establish and maintain a new level of normalcy, right? To be able to increase your vitality, reduce your pain and symptoms, reduce the weight, you know what I mean? Like really make those changes that you're looking to make with your chronic and acute reproductive health issues. So if this is something that you feel called to do with me, we start on the 22nd of November. Enrollment closes next week, Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So you can make sure and click on the link in my bio on Instagram and click on the link below on Facebook, and make sure to check out the application page, book a next step call, and let's see if this is something that we can do together. I'm really excited about it, y'all. Whatever is going to be happening in 2021, you can walk into 2021 with a new attitude, knowing that you have cleansed, you have cleaned, you have optimized, and you have established your new routine moving forward, because we know it's about to get lit. So you need to make sure you have your stuff in place, right? Y'all, I love you. Take care. I will be back soon. Make sure to share this with somebody you think can benefit from this information. Take care.